Business ownership has never been hotter, but how do you do it? That's where I come in. Allow me to guide you on your journey. Welcome to Ion Franchise. This episode sponsored by SEO Samba. Empower your franchise with predictable results and AI-driven marketing. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another fabulous episode of Ion Franchising. I'm your host, Lance Graulich. So restoration is a hot business. When we have a problem in our homes or even our businesses, we need somebody to help us because we're not doing this work ourselves. And today is an experienced founder, a guy that's already founded other brands. I have the founder and president of Best Option Restoration, Nick Anthony Zamucen. I said it right, Zamucen, right?
There you go, Lance. You got it, man.
Nick, how you doing?
Real well, man. Thanks for having me on.
I appreciate you being here. I look forward to diving in. I know some of your story, but a lot of the audience probably doesn't know much of it. So let's dive right in. How did Nick get into the world of franchising? What'd you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be Joe Montana. I wanted to be a football player. I just my height and my athletic ability just decided it wasn't going to happen. It wasn't in the cards for me. Being 5'11" and being a quarterback in the NFL, I'm not Russell Wilson, making, $90 million on an exit being 5'11". No, sports was my thing. I swear I was going to grow up and be a professional athlete. The reality, though, is that, I grew up extremely poor. I was in and out of foster care. I had, unfortunately, I guess if you want to look at it that way, my father was he was a rock and roller. He's out with Rod Stewart and the Doobie Brothers playing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, he traveled the world playing, and the great thing about that is he got to see everything. The downside about that is you're not much of a father, so I didn't have much of a father figure. My mom, being young in the '80s, in the bar scene, she had two young kids in her 20s, and things take over, and she kind of got wrapped up in substance abuse. So I was a big I was a guy that was in and out of foster care and in and out of trailer parks, living in cars, and again, not a sob story, just the reality.
Yep.
And so I just wanted to be rich. And so my thought was, well, I'm pretty good at sports. I'm making all-star teams. I'm doing pretty well here. At the time it was baseball, then it switched to football, then it went back to baseball. I wanted to be a professional athlete because that's what I saw, the glitz and the glamour. And then what I had found is that God's got a funny sense of humor. And he said, well, here's what I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you only certain height and only certain ability. But what I will do is give you the ability to lead. And that's something that I've grasped a hold of. And so Best Option Restoration is actually my fourth franchised organization. I've had a pizzeria franchise, Uncle Vito's Pizzeria. I've had a non-medical home care franchise called Saint Home Care. I've had a bio franchise, which I actually created the industry, called Bio One, that I sold a couple years back. And now Best Option Restoration, I started in 2016 while still owning Bio One. So I was really good at putting companies together, building a model, making sure you could duplicate it time and time again, and assisting owners to live a life that they, had only dreamt about being in corporate. So Best Option Restoration, man, it's all in the name.
Yeah. So you have this ability to lead that you figured out, sounds like at a young age.
Yeah.
But there is some piece to a founder of a brand, franchise or not, that's, creativity, exploring what your secret sauce or proprietary edge might be to the business. So where did that come about for you?
Well, I've always been really good at being able to take a look at a company or an industry and say, here's what they're doing right, and here's what they're doing wrong. Can I solve the problem? So I guess I've always been really good at board games. I was always really good at that game Clue. I could figure things out real quick. I don't know why. It's again a God-given ability. And I can look like the restoration industry. I saw everyone out there, everybody was out there doing the same thing. All the big players. I don't need to name them. We all know who they are. I'm not giving them any more name recognition. We all know who the big guys are. And they were all out there being a man in a van with a van. That's it. And I looked at the industry and went, okay, these guys are doing multi-million, some of them billions of dollars worth of business per year. It's such a, I mean, it's a $300 billion industry. What if somebody came with a different approach? And this is where I introduced thermal technology into the industry, where you can dry things in half the time. You have different serum systems that can dry out and clean mold faster than the average Joe. And then, and also have it work for fire. So what I decided was I'm going to bring technology to the industry. And all technology is it's just sped everything up. The two reasons why that you'll find in restoration, why people don't take jobs is either one, they're out of machines, or two, they're out of manpower. So if I could pull one of those out and just say, okay, you're faster, so you're in and out faster, so you don't have your machines tied up, then I can take away 50% of the reason, just from the get-go, 50% of the reason why people get tied up in restoration and can't take more jobs, which limits their growth. So right there, I just started saying, wait a minute, let me build a team and build a system that actually works faster than anybody else. And we just win on speed. That's really what it
Yeah.
comes down to.
I love that. I love how deep you're thinking about this, which is obviously critical. I used to always joke with people that when you get in bed with the right franchisor, they're the ones up at night thinking of ways to not only improve the brand and additional revenue streams, whatever it is.
Right.
And man, you just gave a good example of all that. Now, explain to the audience that doesn't know, and maybe they're fortunate they've never had to have an experience relating to restoration. Define what a restoration company like BOR or Best Option Restoration does.
Yeah. BOR is a water, mold, and fire mitigation team. So when a pipe busts in your house because it got too cold or froze up and expanded and cracked, or your bathtub overflows because your kids threw towels in there and turned the water, turn the bathtub on, or the braid line from your dishwasher to your garbage disposal breaks in the middle of the night and just leaks water everywhere. That's where our guys come in and they mitigate the process. We'll suck up the water, pop off baseboards, cut out drywall, set containment fans, heaters, dehues, and we dry the place out or remove the mold or take away the smoke damage in the fire. And then after that, they'll have the options, our guys at least give them the option of doing the rebuilds, doing the putbacks. So
Gotcha.
we'll handle the mitigation part and then putting the home back. So that's the way, in my opinion, a true restoration company should be just front to back. It should be a seamless thing for the homeowner. The homeowners are going through trauma as it is. I
Yeah.
mean, you wake up in the middle of the night to go get themselves a glass of warm milk, and next thing you know, you're standing in 3 inches of water at 4 o'clock in the morning. What are you going to do? This
Yeah.
is where we want you to call. We want you to call us. We want to take care of it for you. You got enough to deal with. The kids are going to be up soon. It's a hassle. Things are
Yeah.
wet. Have professionals. As I said, it's in the name, Best Option Restoration. Have the professionals come in and take care of it from that
Yeah.
point.
So who handles the insurance claim in this case? Does the
We do.
homeowners do all this? Do you help with that?
We do 100%. So what we do is we will call the insurance company and submit the claim on the client's behalf. So once again, the homeowner's got enough to deal with. They're dealing with kids and things that are wet, and oh my goodness, who's going to put this back together?
Yeah.
We try to make it as seamless as possible. So we'll initiate the claim, we'll deal with the adjusters, we'll get things approved, and at the final payment, we'll get paid from the insurance company. Now, the homeowner is still responsible for their deductible. There's no getting around that. That's an insurance law. You've contracted with an insurance company to pay a deductible. You pay a portion, they pay a portion. They pay the larger portion, but
Yeah.
so the homeowner will have to pay their deductible. Usually after we're pulling our machines out and getting finished and going to bill the insurance company. But no, we'll handle the insurance claims from top to bottom as well.
Yeah. So Nick, of course, people listening that are looking at business opportunities and probably franchises
Yep.
are thinking, "Oh God, this sounds like this boring, unsexy type business."
Yep.
And I tell people all the time, you've heard it before, that's where the money is in these needed recession-proof type businesses.
Right.
But who are you looking for? What kind of talents does a franchisee need to be successful in this business?
Well, it's a great question. And have been asked this several times, and I've told people, and I truly mean this, your resume to me means very little. I don't care if you have a sales background, if you've been a teacher. I have teachers, bankers, salesmen, stay-at-home moms. I have a mosh posh, a true goulash of franchisees in my system. Give me somebody who wants to be a business owner, who wants to help their community and get paid pretty handsomely to do so. I'll teach you to win every time.
Yeah.
So it's not so much somebody I'm looking for specific, like, oh, because the normal thought is, oh, you want to have some sort of construction background or maybe a sales background because there's a lot of marketing and sales that happen. For me, give me somebody who's hungry, who's coachable, who wants to help their community or at least be a part of their community. And
Yeah.
again, wants to get paid pretty handsomely to do some work that people won't do. A lot of people can't do. Um, I'll take that person every day. So again, it's not really a resume. It's a personality type.
Yeah. Great. So talk a little bit about the process. Myself as a franchise consultant
Yeah.
gives you a candidate or they find one, you find a candidate organically. What
Right.
does that process look like and what might be different in that process to make sure that you guys get the right individual? Because, look, there's a lot of noise out there in franchising how there are brands that just will take money virtually from anybody.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're picky. You want to make sure you have the right individual.
Right, right. Yeah, the method of taking the heartbeat in cash is not us.
Yeah.
Um, every franchise or every candidate that comes our way goes to me first. I talk to everybody.
Great.
The reason why is I vet them immediately. I can tell you, I tell more people no than I do yes because if somebody just out of the gate, and I'll tell you what eliminates them, just in case someone's watching that wants to know what'll get you eliminated.
They
Ask
like
how
golf.
much yeah, well, yeah, like golf's okay, but don't ask me don't have one of the very first questions say, "How much money can I make?" I, I don't know. How good are you?
Yeah.
I mean, the money's there. I have no idea how much money you're going to make. How much money do you want to make?
Yeah.
So that, I need people. So I'll say this. I talk to people specifically to find out if they're a good fit. Are they a team player? Do they want to help? So the process for me is I talk to them. I'll have about a 30-minute conversation, just like this, just a conversation. I talk about the business. I talk about their family. I want to know, are you married? Do you have kids? Are you spiritual? What do you value in life? That's what I want to know. What do you value? Because for me, I value very much, first and foremost, my family. I'm religious. I'm spiritual. I talk about that. I talk about all the things you're not supposed to talk about.
Yeah.
Politics, religion, money. I talk about these things.
You're also not hiring them, so that's good
Right.
too.
Exactly. I mean, I want to find out, are you a good fit? Because after they speak to me for about 30 minutes and we get to know, personally about one another, because every franchise that I have, all 67 of them, they all know my wife and they know my kids. I know most of their wives and certainly know about their kids. When you're buying into Best Option Restoration, what you're getting is a family. You're getting People always say, "Oh, it's a family atmosphere." Not like ours. Ours is truly a family. You have your brothers and sisters that you talk to every day and that you work with and help out. And then you got that distant cousin that you only see at the annual meeting, but it doesn't mean they're not family. It just means, hey, I haven't seen you. How was the year?
Yeah.
But we're all on the same page, shooting for the same thing, and that's success in franchising, success at Best Option Restoration. So from talking to me for 30 minutes, and sometimes it's me doing a lot of the talking, as you can tell, from talking to me for 30 minutes, then I immediately go into validation. I want them to talk to a franchise immediately. Let's find out, do you like on an everyday basis what a franchise does? So I want to get that out of the way quick. I want you to find out, does this make sense for you?
Yeah.
Talk to people, and I don't just cherry pick. I don't really give them anybody, but I don't say, hey, call Ethan in St. Paul who did 1.7 million in his first 6 months, or Mario in DMV who's done 1.3 million in 5 months. I don't give them those guys
Yeah.
because those are the superstars. Okay. Superstars are not an indication of how well you're going to do. That's guys out of the gate that are coming out swinging, killing it, putting 100% of effort into it. I know I've been in franchising now for 17, 18 years now. I know that is not normal. I want them to talk to the people that on an everyday are the average guys, the guys
Yes.
that are doing 6, 7, 800,000 a year, the average guys. That's important. So I'll say, you know, talk to people in your area. So if you were coming to Denver, we're 6 locations here in Denver. Call all the Denver guys. Find out who you're going to be working with, who you're going to be teaming with. Do you vibe with them? Do you really have a connection? Because if you don't, then they, being our current franchises, will let me know. Because
Yeah.
it's one thing to talk to me and everyone's on their best behavior. I mean, we're talking to dad. Dad's, we're all buttoned up, all stiff, ready to go. And then you talk to a franchisee who you think, a current franchisee, maybe you're under the impression that that you're just having a more standard conversation. What I found sometimes is my current franchisees will call me back and say, "Hey, that guy, no way. Not a chance, man. He doesn't fit with us at all. All he cared about was the money. All he cared about was how do I get job? I mean, he didn't ask anything important. He just asked selfish questions. And so that'll get people eliminated. But the process to get back on it, the process talking to me, talking to the franchises, coming back to me. And then one of the things I say is on the second phone call is, "Hey, if Lance, if it was you, I'd say, what'd you learn? What'd you like? What'd you not like? Because you heard it from the guys that do it every single day. So tell me what you liked and tell me what you didn't like. And let's figure out if it's something you misunderstood or maybe they didn't explain correctly or if this is a deal killer for you. So let's
Yeah.
find out now." Half the time, I've been told from my current franchisees, they'll say, "Nick, half the time I feel like you were trying to talk me out of it."
Yeah.
And it's
I
not.
love that.
What's that?
But I love that. I love that because the idea is, I always tell people when you're selecting a franchise, me as a consultant, I could point you in the right direction. At the end of the day, this is a relationship. It's a two-way street. You have to work towards no surprises. The worst thing that happens in franchising, people become a franchisee of XYZ brand, and 4 months later, they're like, this isn't what I thought.
Right. Yeah.
So I love the fact that you give them the real deal, if you will, and with validation, hopefully they're getting that from the franchisees as well. So
I,
I
I
love
hope.
that. What about Meet the Team Day, Discovery Day? Do you do anything like that?
Oh, sure. Ever since COVID, we kind of slowed down on that a little bit. Um, I had one meet the team day last year, and we brought on 32 of them last year. I had one.
Wow.
And if somebody wants to come out, I'll certainly invite them. And we have a beautiful office, a lot of fun. We have pool tables, craps tables. I mean, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous in here. It's just it's a big frat house. But but it's not as important to me as it used to be because Meet the Team Day, what I have found, or Discovery Day is what it used to be called. What I have found was it's the last ditch effort to get the candidate to commit because they've flown out, they meet everybody, you take them to dinner, you wine them and dine them. Man, if you have to do that, you haven't done your job. You're selling. I don't
Yeah.
want to sell anything.
Yeah.
I mean, the difference between selling and awarding to me, it couldn't be more opposite. I mean, there are companies out there that, oh, I did this, I mean, there's a company out there right now. I won't name their name, but they're a newer company. The CEO is flying out to people's locations to take them to dinner and wine them and dine them, and it's like, you don't need to do that. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess maybe he does.
Yeah.
I don't have to. Again, for me, it's not, I'm not trying to sell you something. I'm trying to provide you an opportunity, which I promise I will give you 100% of my effort. But here's what I won't do. And I tell everybody this on the phone, I will not waste your money or my time on the wrong candidate.
Yeah.
I just won't. It's
Yeah.
just, I'm at the stage of my life. Thank goodness. I mean, my Lord, thank goodness I'm at the stage of my life. And hopefully this doesn't get taken away from me saying this, God, is that my my time is so much more valuable than money at this. I've been blessed financially from previous companies that I've sold and exited, and to me, time is valuable. So what I don't do is ask somebody to get on a plane to come meet me. If they want to, please do. So I'm a hoot to hang out with,
Yeah.
but it's it's not something I require because if you know, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
when I met my wife, I told her on the second date. I said, look, literally second date. I said, here's the deal. I'm not dating anybody else from this point on. You're for me. That's it. And I'd appreciate it if you didn't either. And thankfully, 14 years later, 14 years of marriage later and 3 kids, it's worked out. But
Well, I
when you
love
know,
it when a plan comes together.
yeah, I mean, you know where you don't. If you have to come to a discovery day, or if you make people come to a discovery day, in my opinion, to make them commit, they should have committed by now. And so I don't make people come to meet the team day or discovery day. If they want to, I'm more than happy to take them to dinner, take them to lunch, because generally I'll invite my wife and say, meet my wife, meet the real boss, not not
That's
me.
right. Sponsored by Leap Brands. From executive recruiting to hourly staff, Leap is your one-stop shop for all of your franchise talent. That's right. No, I love that. And look, what people should realize that are listening to this, and let me be clear about this. Nick had a big exit with Bio One, and here he is. He wants to do it all over again, and he is doing it all over again. And why is that, Nick? You obviously love the process. You love people. You
I
love
love,
helping people get into business ownership.
yeah, yeah. I dig that moment of here's what I crave, and I do it, and I create, and it always happens at annual meetings that that a franchisee will walk up to me and say, I was so nervous, but I believed in you that you could help me do this. And here I am. And I have 3 locations and I'm living a lifestyle I never thought. I just bought, when I had a couple of franchises come down on E2 visas from Canada, and they're down in Dallas. And I had one friend come, or I had a guy come down, and he worked for a year, called his best friend and said, get down here and do this. So now they were in adjacent areas together. And he had called me, or I shouldn't say, he called me up before the annual meeting and said, hey, can we have a conversation at the annual meeting? I said, yeah, sure. I said, of course, yeah. And I always have at the annual meeting, I always have like an opening night where we have cocktails and just some light appetizers. And he kind of pulled me to the side and he said, hey, I just want to tell you, and I was ready because I didn't know what he was going to say. He said, I just want to tell you that this is the first time in 12 years that I was able to take my family on vacation, and I took a week off and we went to Disneyland, something my son and daughter have always wanted to do. And I got to say that happened because of you and your system. And I just wanted to pull you aside from everybody. He said, because I didn't want anyone to think it was BS. Just from me to you, Nick, thank you for what you've done again in a system that actually works. He said, because I looked at a lot of them. He said, so for me, man, the gratitude that I get, and that juices me up. I love to be able to help people that want to work for themselves, but they just don't know how to, and they're maybe scared to take that jump. So for me, whether it was Saint Home Care or Uncle Vito's Pizzeria or a Bio One or any of the exits that I got out of, and they're all running company and they're fine, they're great, but no matter what company it's been, there's a sense of me where I love that. That's how I give back. I give back because I guess I could sit back and smoke a fat cigar and just be retired. I guess I don't know. I don't know what people do when they retire, but I could do that. But I feel like to fulfill fulfill what I'm trying to do in life, and which is to help the next guy. This is the way I do it. And so to me, when somebody pays, their money to buy the franchise, I take that extremely serious. And I know they've invested not only their money and their family's money into me and the company, but they're about ready to invest their time. And again, time is much more valuable than money that we found in life.
I love that. Yeah, you reminded me of my favorite quote: "Put yourself in a financial position to retire and don't."
Yeah, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
I love everything about that answer. Let's talk a little bit about, all right, you find the right franchisee,
Yeah.
and I know that you have quite a few multi-territory franchisees, which to me, having been a franchisee and franchisor in the past myself, that's a very positive sign that people are not only interested in doing one territory, they're going to do it again and do multiple. So
Right.
I love that. Now, what is the training like? So you're selected. What does that training look like?
Training's pretty simple. It's 3 days of online training. There's insurance training that everybody has to go through. If you don't do this training, the insurance company doesn't consider you a professional. So you have to, and we can't teach it. Unfortunately, I wish they think it's a conflict of interest. We can't teach it. So it's 3 days of online training, and then they come out here to Denver for 5 days and meet me here and meet the team, and they go through equipment and standards and software and marketing and sales. And it is like I said, it is a fire hose of information.
Yeah.
I don't expect them to remember. I don't expect you to remember everything. But when they leave here, they're assigned a mentor who's at least a multi-million dollar producer. We have 7 of them that are mentors. So franchises that start just like them have been in their shoes that literally hold, I shouldn't say literally, that's probably the wrong way, but figuratively hold their hand every step of the way. So they're going to have their mentor. They have Jordan and Brian here at corporate, who are the franchise liaisons who kind of work with the franchisees and get them off the ground, making sure, holding them accountable essentially is what they're doing. And then one of the reasons why I speak to everybody and I'm in the training class quite a bit is not just because I want everyone to see my pretty face. It's because I want them to know and feel okay with right here calling me.
Yeah.
Calling me to make sure that they know that at any moment, if you have a question and you want an answer, you're not happy with or you want a fourth opinion, your mentor, you got an opinion from a mentor, you called Jordan, you called Brian, you want, as people always say, I want to go to Uncle Nick sometimes. I want it from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
Give me a text. Let's get on the phone. We'll talk through it. I talk to 3 or 4 franchises a day. I just talked to one right before we got on this call. It's important to me that they understand that at any point, day or night, they can call me and I will walk them through whatever it is. I talk to people about jobs. I talk to people about sports. We were just talking about March Madness on the phone.
Yeah.
It's a relationship. When you're buying a franchise, at least for me, you're buying into a relationship. I mean, we're getting married for at least 10 years. I mean, we want to make sure that you're comfortable picking up the phone. And if you think I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. If you
Yeah.
think I'm right, fantastic. We'll talk about something else, but I want you to be comfortable knowing that you have somebody that's really going to value your time and listen as a franchisee and not just say, well, that's what the contract says. And I hate that when people
Yeah.
do that, because it's ridiculous.
So what are the hiring what is the hiring situation these days? A lot of people are still talking about it's hard to hire people. What are your thoughts on that and how do you help with that process?
We work with many agencies that basically literally hand our new franchises employees. Um,
I like that.
yeah, I mean, again, when you're buying a business, it should be a business in a box. So we've thought about all this stuff. I mean, again, I don't want our franchises to stress about hiring. So we work with agencies that literally just say, here you go, here's 4, you need 4 people, there you go.
Yeah.
However, the hiring here's my thought on hiring. Okay, we don't have a huge attrition rate. We don't have a huge attrition rate in franchising, at least with us. With employees, I don't lose people very often here at corporate because we preach paying correctly. You know, people want to make sure that they can feed their families. In restoration, the margins are so big. I mean, they're huge. I mean, I haven't seen anything bigger than this outside of tech,
Yeah.
tech company. So, and that's one of the reasons I jumped in. I thought it was, I thought we could really make a difference in people's lives, and we are.
Yeah.
But, you have I mean, when your margins are this big, you can pay people appropriately, make sure they can feed their families, send their families to, school and, not worry about buying tennis shoes. Um, Pay them right and treat them right. Show them a vision outside of just a job and they'll stay forever. So we talk a lot about this in training class, and we talk about how to support an employee, what they're looking for. We talk about everything from 401ks to medical coverage I mean, we want to make sure that when you're buying our franchise, that you're not just buying a job, you're building an asset to exit. And, as I tell people, very few people in franchising probably know that better than I do.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think you're also not giving yourself the credit as the great guy that you are in that the culture that you've built from corporate down to the franchisees is also what helps retain those best employees. There's an old expression, people don't leave companies, they leave people. So
Right.
when you have a great culture like you've established, it's easy to see why you retain a lot of employees and don't
Well,
have the high turnover. So
I think it's important that I tell everybody the same thing, and I truly mean it. I'll never ask you to do something I haven't either done myself or wouldn't do myself.
yeah,
I mean, you can't just sit up on your throne, your ivory towers and your throne and just point. I mean, that's not being a leader. That's
yeah.
being It's being a boss. I mean, a leader,
Absolutely.
someone's going to stand side by side and go into the fight with you every single day and be, first one on the field, last one to leave. So
So,
that's
so, so I was going to say, tell me about marketing because marketing is a big topic that a lot of people bring up. Everybody I talk to at some point when they're deciding, with me what brand they're going to go with, they always come up with, well, what do they do for me for marketing? How do they help me on marketing?
yeah. Well, and that's a good question because I know a lot of companies don't do a lot. We do quite a bit. So I mean, we can start with we handle all their SEO, landing pages, websites. We make sure everything's ADA compliant. We make sure they're not going to get in trouble. So we handle all the SEO, and we handle also the insurance companies in the sense of, so we register ourselves with all the insurance companies so our franchisees can get paid. And the good thing about that is by registering with the insurance company so they can get paid is you automatically have an in with the insurance company, meaning this is still a relationship driven business. Now, I can make sure you sign up with every major insurance company out there. However, if you don't go shake a hand and kiss a baby, if John Jones from State Farm down the street from you doesn't know who you are, he's probably not going to refer you. So,
Yeah.
what we also do is we build a sales and marketing plan for every franchise that comes aboard, every single one of them, specific to their location. So, and we talk to them about what to say, how to say it, when not to say it. Like, I mean, let's talk about multifamily. I'll give you a little tip here. Multifamily, just for anyone that's curious about this, multifamily, if you go into a multifamily property and let's call it a HOA or apartment community or whatever you go to, you don't go from the 27th through the 7th. You can't go at the end of the month or beginning because at the end of the month, they're getting ready to collect rents. At the beginning of the month, they're collecting rents.
Right.
3 days after that, they're giving 3 day notices and starting to have eviction notices. If you walk in the door in that time frame in those 2 weeks, they're gonna shush you out of there as fast as they possibly can because you don't understand what they do for a living. So we need to talk to the franchisees about, again, what to say, when to say things, and when not to say things. Insurance agents, there's two types. There's captive and independent. There's independent insurance agents, a broker, has 20 different things he can sell. A captive insurance agent like State Farm, Allstate, these are single insurance agents. Their approach, one cares about client retention, one cares about loss ratio. You got to know the difference when you're speaking to these people. So this is what we talk about in the sales and marketing and how to do so. We train them every step of the way. I just simply say, guys, don't reinvent anything on me. I don't, you let me innovate, you go out and just do what I ask you to do. If you give me 18 months of solid effort, then start work, then start getting creative.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we literally, I mean, we walk them through every single marketing channel, what to say, when to say it, how to say it, scripts. And then again, that's where their mentor comes into it. And they say, hey, I know Nick taught you this in class. This is what's worked for me out in Charlotte, or this is what's worked for me out in Chicago. And it's important that there's that relationship with the mentor. So you got the classroom instructions and then the true street instructions.
Yeah. I love that. So Nick, you've given us a ton of information and I just love it. Love hearing how you're doing and why give people a reason. You've given quite a few, but sum it up. Why best option restoration compared to all other franchise options? I mean, there's a lot, what, 4,000 franchises out there?
Right. Well, one, it's in the name, best option. It's the best option you're going to find.
Good point.
You know, um, Restoration specifically is recession proof. It doesn't matter how the economy is doing, who won the Super Bowl, who the president is, how the stock market is. Water is always going to happen. Mold's always going to grow. Fires, unfortunately, are going to happen. AI is not going to take us over. And, it's not a computer job. Best option restoration is out there because people need us. If you want to help your community, and again, be paid handsomely to do so, and work with the team in an environment of a family atmosphere, that's what I've tried to cultivate. That's what I try to grow. And that's what I nurture every single day. If you're looking for a true, passionate franchisor, someone who lies in bed at night, as you said, Lance, thinking of ways additional revenue streams, new. And we got a couple of them coming out. I can tell you right now, Lance, I'll give you a little tip.
Yeah.
What we're releasing, and I don't even, and depending on if the franchises listen to this, what we're releasing is our franchisees as of 2025 are now going to start offering asbestos removal and doing and now getting into roofing as well. So we're becoming a full service restoration company because the insurance companies have asked us, can you guys get into this? And so I've started looking into it. So my point is, I'm constantly looking and innovating and changing things in the company, adding new verticals to make sure the franchisees are as profitable as they possibly can be.
I love it. One thing I didn't ask you today, tell everybody what the typical investment is and how people are funding this. They coming in with cash or an SBA loan?
Well, I mean, we're rubber stamped by the SBA, so there's about half of them are going SBA loan. A lot of people, because the price point is under 200,000, a lot of people are just taking money straight out of their 401k and paying cash as well. So we have funding options, whether alternative or SBA, but you're looking at under 200,000. And it's a fantastic return on investment. It's probably one of the quickest I've ever seen. Again, and I've had 3 other franchises. This one I can tell you is not only the most profitable in my opinion, but the fastest ramp up time because the industry is not new. I'm not trying to create it. It's there. We just plug you into a system, kind of turn the faucet on. So it's fantastic.
You've done it before, Nick. Thank you for being here. Final thoughts, final tip for anyone listening, anybody looking at franchising and has no idea where to start.
Here's my tip. Okay. I say this to everybody and I'll say it again. Nothing in business happens as fast as you want it to. Things take time, but anything worth doing took time. You're not proud of something that came easy. So I don't care if it's franchising or starting your own business. It's not easy. Okay. I wish it was. Even a franchise system who is a lock and step like us, knowing exactly how to do it and when to do it, there's effort that needs to take place. You have to decide if you are going to work for 60 hours a week for somebody else, are you willing to work 80 for yourself? And, work your face off and it works. If you don't sit back and wait for the phone to ring. I don't care what business you're in. I don't care if it's restaurants. I don't care if it's home care. I don't care if it's restoration. Business is relationship driven, and I don't care what business it is. Go make a friend and win a job.
Love it. Nick, thank you so much for being here. This was awesome.
All right. Thanks, Lance.
If you're ready to talk about franchise opportunities, hit the link below to schedule a call. My services are free. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for listening.